Well, hi there, guys. My name's Christopher Lang. I'm the owner and founder of HelpMePTSD.com. And we are live with you today with a very amazing guest, empowerment experiences, life coach, self-love expert, and empowerment builder, Rachel Richard. We are going to have an amazing show for you today. First and foremost, we want to let you know that you can get your free account as a client no matter what. And at the site today, it costs no money in an account. You get to go see all of our amazing coaches, counselors that are signing up for our program. And as a member, we just want you to know we are here to provide continual support to trauma survivors, their family members, and all the people around them that need to learn how to be a positive, helpful support for their loved ones. Without anything else going on right now for you guys, I want to bring in empowerment experts, Rachel Richard with Empowerment Experiences. Rochelle, thank you so much for joining me today. I apologize for butchering your name. Tell us who you are and what you do in your practice, bringing so many empowerment to women, children, and families all over the nation.
Well, it is all good, Chris. Thank you for having me on. And really, at 40 years old, I'm used to my name having some spin put on it. But I am Rochelle Richard, and I am the founder, CEO, and self-love empowerment coach of Empowerment Experiences. As someone who herself experienced so much of a life of being in such a state of powerlessness, I have journeyed firsthand through the path from disempowered into empowered. And as a result of that firsthand wisdom, I am so grateful, honored, and blessed to be in the position of guiding others into and through finding their power as well. As someone who, again, experienced so much in my life of unworthiness, feeling not enough, in a space of wanting to please everybody at an absolute detriment of myself, again, I know the space and place it is to go from disempowered into empowered. And empowerment experiences really came to be in the awareness of being able to shift the perspective, the meaning that we give to the experiences that we have in our lives. And we can look back over our journey and we can choose. That's why this side here, this side, why I have this sign. I always broadcast right here with that sign there, where we get to choose the meaning we give to things. We can either look at something from a victim mindset, or we can choose to look at something from a more empowered, more of a victorious mindset. And in that shifting for myself, it allowed me to go from looking at my journey of having been told a mistake by my mother when I was a teenager, all the way through experiencing domestic abuse, trauma, assault, rape, being pimped out, drug addicted, prostitute, arrested. I know a little bit about that journey of wanting to look at my life and say, well, that happened to me. Why me? Why me? To shift all of that and look and say, well, instead of seeing all of that as something that happened to me, I can look at all of those as empowerment experiences that have actually given me an opportunity to grow strong and resilient and shine my light in spite of all of that darkness.
That is such an amazing story of triumph and overcoming, and is exactly what Help PTSD embodies in the journey that people take after experiencing some form of trauma. There's a lot of different aspects that go into this healing component. And today we want to talk about some of the different bumps that come up. And first thing is, with trauma, a lot of times people get manipulated after the fact. They get re-traumatized, and no, I didn't abuse you, I didn't hurt you, I love you, I care about you. And the actions, though, still show abuse and neglect, not what a fully empowered relationship of love stands for. Can you tell our viewers what they can do to resist manipulation if they happen to be in a abusive relationship or are struggling with this aspect of being manipulated after experiencing trauma?
Well, first of all, I am one of those being very aware and mindful of our choice of words. And in terms of resisting manipulation, I tend to be of the belief that whatever you resist does persist. So rather, I tend to be one that looks at it as rising above manipulation, being uh, stronger than the manipulation that is being perpetrated upon you. Now, the result of manipulation really tends to stem from a space within ourselves of recognizing that I need to please this person. And as a result of that, we succumb to the coercion of those other individuals in our lives because as a result of our own socially conditioned state of being from having relationship or experience after experience after experience of being manipulated, it can be so easy. It really can be so easy to fall into that space of surrendering our power to others outside of ourselves, to such a depth and degree of making choices that we wouldn't normally make, allowing others to take advantage of ourselves. And I am always pointing that out. We allow others to do what they do to us because we are in the belief, in the mindset that we're not worthy enough, we're not strong enough to stand up for ourselves and say, no, I deserve better than this. And I'm going to put into action what I need to put into action. And if that's walking away, it's I tend to point out that it's a choice to engage or disengage with someone. And if it's simply, you don't have to say anything. You can turn and yes, you can just walk away into a better life.
No, that's and a very powerful statement. The truth of the matter, and I want to make sure our viewers are very clear. If you're suffering in a domestic violence situation, if you're being abused as a woman, if you are in a situation where you are not choosing to be where you are and you are under any coercion or force, please reach out to us. There are so many organizations out there to help you get away from that environment. The truth of the matter is you can leave. There is support for you to do that. All it takes is you picking up the phone, calling and telling us where we're to go. We have the resources to be able to make that happen for you. And Rochelle here is one of those resources. I'm sure you have a bunch of tools in the tool bag for situations like that. So getting on to another topic here, rising above manipulation.
Yeah.
This comes to a very unique aspect of how we set healthy boundaries. What is a healthy boundary? How do we go about setting these boundaries with the ones that we love? This can be a very delicate conversation when it's a boundary with someone as close as your mom or your brother or your sister or your best friend who may not know that they're causing offense, may not know that they're hurting you or violating some of your own personal boundaries that you have, and you just haven't expressed those in the best way. So tell us, how do we set healthy boundaries? What do those look like, for you in your coaching this? And is a healthy?
Oh, well, you kind of cut out there at the end of that, but in terms of what distinguishes a healthy boundary is to first and foremost look at recognizing that, again, we teach others how to treat ourselves, and how others treat us are actually a reflection of how we are treating ourselves. So if we are coming from a space of, well, I don't deserve any better, I need to put everybody else before myself, I need to sacrifice myself, that is really, again, our own inner space of recognizing that I'm not putting into place boundaries for myself to be able to recognize when someone else is crossing those boundaries, because that's the key. Is if you haven't set boundaries with yourself, then how are you going to really know that someone else is disrespecting those boundaries? Because when we disrespect ourselves, then it's very easy for others to disrespect us. In terms of healthy boundaries for myself in my business, that's a great question, because I am one of those people where, again, I still tend to fall into that space of wanting to serve and be there and rescue everybody, to, again, a detriment. I tend to make it a point to remind everybody that you are responsible for filling your own cup. And when we're running around from a space of grasping and wanting to please other people, it's time to take a pause and recognize that I've got to take time for myself and disconnect and refill and replenish my cup, so that then I do have the power within myself to enforce, to respect my own boundaries when others come along and seek to cross that. And we are all very subconsciously patterned beings. And so, yeah, there are going to be a lot of people in our lives that don't recognize that they are disrespecting our boundaries. But then it's, again, taking that responsibility, because in responsibility is power, when we can go, but wait a minute, have I actually taken the time to ask myself, what are my boundaries?
Right. And you bring up a good question. We have to understand what our own boundaries are, and we have to take time to develop those standards.
Yes.
Now, one of these things is, in order to do that, we have to own our power in ourselves to be able to set that structure, to be able to express those concerns to people who may be violating our boundaries that we determine for ourselves. Talk to me about, how do we obtain our own power? How do we live in the power that we all have to heal, thrive, and live in love?
Oh, I love that. I love that. One of the biggest things is to first recognize that when we are seeking external validation, that first and foremost is a relinquishment of our power to those other individuals, by saying that that person made me feel this way. That is giving our power away. I tend to point out to my audience that wherever your finger is pointing, that's where your power is going. And so when we start to say, he's, again, doing that to me, it's going, but wait a minute, how can I shift into my power and stand in that space and speak my truth and acknowledge what my boundaries are? And a big thing of that is to recognize that you are the only one that can be responsible for your happiness, just as we have no power over anybody else's happiness. We've all been kind of, again, socially conditioned that we don't have control over our own states of being. We don't have control over our own emotions, our own thoughts. And that is great, very misleading. That's why so many of us, again, awake and going, wait a minute, where is my power? Where, I don't know who I am. Why does my life look the way it does? Why don't I have any control? Because that's the other thing, is control is an illusion. The only place in space we can ever have control is over ourselves. And when we can begin to recognize that and acknowledge that, there's another part to this, in the space of knowing that if you're not being authentically you, if you're not giving yourself the permission to shine your light, your uniquely divine light, one in gazillions, okay, over the history of humanity, then that's the space of I lost that for a moment there. When we, again, are not standing in our own authentic power, we're not owning our own self-worth. We're not acknowledging the pricelessness that we are, because we are all different for a reason. For a reason. I don't want another Rochelle. One of me is plenty, and I love me. I love me. Don't mistake that. However, it's like, look, that would be boring, right?
No, and you bring up so many awesome and amazing points. It's been a pleasure having you on the show here today. Really, thank you for taking some time out of your day here. I know you're really busy helping all the people. Coaching and mental health and wellness is really starting to be a forefront of the solution in today's environment, we can call it, and what. And so, tell us, where can people find you if they need help? Where can they go just to get schedule an appointment yourself?
Well, I actually offer journey clarity calls, I call them. They're 30 minutes. We jump on a call with each other. You can definitely visit empowermentexperiences.com to go directly to my schedule. I love this link. It is iamempowered.as.me. iamempowered.as.me. But that link is also available through my website, empowermentexperiences.com. You can contact me directly through that website. And again, my inbox has an open heart policy. I truly am here for you. I do offer tough love, as well as, of course, always from a place of compassion and understanding, because like I said, I know what it is to be in that dark space.
Right. I appreciate that so much. Awesome. You guys can get in touch with her via the link she mentioned. I couldn't type it in fast enough, and my PTSD brain doesn't remember things half the time. But you can go to www.empowermentexperiences.com. You can go there. And most importantly, before the show, we had a conversation. Rochelle is going to join us as a member on helpmeptsd.com. And what that means for our people that find our site is not only can you go to empowermentexperiences.com, but if you already joined the community at Help Me PTSD, you're going to find Rochelle and her coaching and her services and be able to pay her for those services right on our client provider platform. So if you guys want to check out that, again, like I've said, we've got free accounts for everyone at PTSD.com. There'll always be free accounts. We don't charge you to find a person that can help you. Now, once you get there, if you want to work with counselors and providers that we have as members, that is between you and them. So again, Rochelle, thank you so much for being here today. And you're welcome to come back on our show anytime you'd like.
I would love to. It would be an honor. It was such a privilege to be invited as your guest, Chris. It truly, truly was amazing to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of the Help Me PTSD family.
Awesome. Have a great day.
You do the same.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Join us next week for another live stream video. We've got some great content coming up. We've got a substance abuse behavioral therapist coming up, working at Unhooked and Maine. I have a retired veteran talking about his transition from military life to civilian life. I've got the prior attorney for Jodi Arias, Kirk, coming on the show to talk about being a lawyer and how the stressful times in the office and caseload can impact even the strongest person in our world that we live in today. So again, got some great content for you guys coming up over the next few weeks. If you haven't done so, give us a like and a follow on YouTube. Go ahead and check out helpmeptsd.com. Make your free account today and make sure that you always have the help you need at your fingertips. I'm Chris Langell, founder and owner of Help PTSD, and we are honored to be serving you in the community.